Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about the Medusa. What are its strengths, what are its weaknesses, and do I personally think it's a good unit? P.S. I do. I think it's actually a terrific unit, one of the best in the game. This was heavily requested by you, the community, so without further ado, let's just jump right into it. In order to be making Medusa, you need to be playing Zeus, as Hades and Poseidon don't have that capability. The reason why is Zeus is the only pantheon that's able to go through Hera. And Hera not only gives you Lightning Storm, which is terrific, but allows you to make Medusa as well. So you have to be playing Zeus, and you have to be going into Hera. So here in front of me are the stats for the Medusa. It costs 250 wood, 24 favor, 3 population space. Takes 20 seconds to train. So honestly, it's very easy to spam, especially as Zeus when you're getting that favor bonus, right? And wood is very cheap in the late game, so I'd rather be spending wood than spending gold, right? Food is a little bit better than wood, but overall, I'd rather be spending wood than gold. So not bad. In terms of its tankiness, it's actually pretty good in terms of its effective HP. As you can see on the screen, 1,250 for hack and 1,667 for pierce. So very, very reasonable. Its DPS is pretty good as well, 20.6 in pierce, 2.94 in crush, which is kind of cool for having an archer unit that has crush, so not bad. It has a ×2 multiplier versus myth units, 16 range, and a track rating of 1. The thing that the Medusa really lacks though is a little bit of speed. It has 4.33 speed, which is kind of given since it's considered a backline damage dealer, right? So you don't want to have such a fast myth unit that actually does this much damage as well and can petrify you, which is what I'm going to talk about next. The main reason why people like to use the Medusa is for its petrification. It will do 400 divine damage to any unit except for the heroes. That's all fine and dandy, but then on top of this, you're going to have the upgrade for the Medusa, which is the Face of the Gorgon, which is really good. It gives you 5 extra range on your pierce damage, or your pierce attack, which is insane, which is 21 range, which is really good for a myth unit, because it's going to be very hard to kill this unit. And on top of that, it reduces its recharge time for the petrification, which I believe is 20 seconds. So it takes it from 20 seconds down to 15 seconds. Overall, very good upgrade. I highly recommend you get this with the Medusa. Now, one thing to take into consideration is that the Medusa, while I think it's a great unit, it's not a unit that you can just move into battle and expect it to do well. Now, it is going to do well, but it's not going to do as well as other myth units that have area of effect damages. For example, the Chimera here do area of effect, so they're going to do a lot better than the Medusa, which, can only take out one unit at a time per se. The Chimera do cost more, so this might not be the most realistic battle, but that is still to say that the Medusa is a unit that needs to be micromanaged well in order for it to reap the maximum amount of value. So if you're the one that's making Medusa, you need to micro them effectively. How do you micro them effectively? Well, the priority is kill the opponent's high value units ASAP. So in this army right here, the high value units are the Chimera, because these are the main damage dealers. These are the most expensive units. They have the most HP. So you want your Medusa to target them. And once they do, you're going to take them out of the battle, and then obviously your hoplites are going to be free to do their damage. Now note that this only lasts about 8 seconds, I believe. So they're going to come back into the fight, and then they're going to blast your infantry. So they did do their damage, their special. But what's going to happen is while you lose your hoplites, he's going to lose his most expensive units, which are the Chimera. If the Chimera die, then these Medusa are going to be able to clean up the rest of the infantry, right? So in a perfect world, you're still going to lose your infantry, but you're able to retain your high value units, which are your Medusa. The Medusa are going to be used in the next fight, whereas the Chimera will not be able to. Once again, the Chimera costs a lot more than the Medusa, right? And it costs a lot more than the hoplites. So you're going to have a little bit of an edge just because you're able to kill his high priority units. So another cool thing about the Medusa is that you can upgrade this multiple times. We already talked about one upgrade, but here's another one, which is Monstrous Rage. Monstrous Rage is going to give you some more DPS, but on top of that, the main thing it's going to give you is movement speed. And movement speed is really desirable for the Medusa since it has only 4.3 speed. If you get Monstrous Rage, your Medusas are going to be going at 4.9 speed, which is almost as fast as your archers or your mainline infantry. So now this is just an additional benefit and an additional win for the Medusa. On top of that, you can also get Sunray from Apollo, which is going to give you even more DPS, right? So all of these things, you put them into consideration, and then you have a fully upgraded Medusa that hits at 38.5 damage, which is equivalent to, I believe, 30.2 damage per second, which is extremely high. So I personally think that these are also additional factors to consider when you're thinking about the overall power level of the Medusa. You know, another awesome thing with the Medusa is that if you get all your upgrades and you get Burning Pitch, they have a 4x multiplier versus building. So they do really well versus fortresses, town centers, any type of building per se, right? They have crush damage, they have good pierce damage, they have 21 range, so they outrange a lot of defensive fortifications as well. So you can see right here, I'm going to put some Petroboli versus Medusa. So you got 5 Medusa and 5 Petroboli here. The Petroboli are a little bit had some issues in terms of attacking, so they're a little bit slow to the party, but you can see that they're kind of neck and neck, which is kind of insane to think about. The fact that this myth unit, which is not even supposed to be a siege unit, can actually compete with a very high-end siege unit from the Greeks. So really cool to see that this unit has this much versatility. Not only is it good in terms of sniping your opponent's high-value units, but you can also use it for building. So imagine you have an army here with hoplites and Toxicity, and then you have these Medusa at the back. You're going to just shred buildings down. You don't even need siege. So really, really cool that the Medusa have this ability as well. Now, just to be clear, there are other myth units that have this ability as well. Here are some of the different range units in the game. We have the Mummy, the Manticore, the Troll, the Petsukos, the Draugr, and the Centaur. Now, any myth unit that has a normal arrow, like the Centaur and the Draugr, are going to be able to benefit from Burning Pitch, and as a result, they're going to get 4x multiplier versus buildings as well, right? However, I don't think that they do the job as well as the Medusa does. They don't have any crush. That's the first thing, right? And then the second thing is they don't have the range. They're both at 12 range, and they don't have as much DPS because 7.3 for the Draugr and it has 17.6 for the Centaur. The Medusa can go all the way up 30 plus, right? So that's why I still think that the Medusa is much better than these units in terms of actual DPS against buildings. Now, do I think these units are bad? No, I think that's still pretty decent as well. It's just the fact that they're going to be within firing range of the fortress. They're going to take heavy losses. Not heavy losses, but they're going to take losses. And the secondly is you're going to need a lot more to be equating the same DPS as Medusa does. So yeah, they're still pretty good, but not as good as the Medusa. The cool thing about making these videos and actually trying out these units is that different people can actually think that have completely different opinions even at the same skill level. So I can say that Medusas are good, and then somebody who's just as good as me can say that they're bad. And it all comes down, in my opinion, to each player's understanding, each player's playstyle, not necessarily each player's skill. Because some players could make this unit look really good, and some players might make this unit look really bad, right? It depends on the way you play the game and the way you understand the game. The fact that no one can agree on certain things, like for example, certain tier lists, everyone has a different opinion on what's the strongest god, what's the weakest god. That's the fun part about this game, that it's not figured out yet, it's not understood yet, and that we keep on debating and trying to figure out what is actually the best unit to make, what is the strongest civilization. There are some things we've kind of figured out in this meta, which is like, Ra is very strong, or Set and Isis are very good, and the Egyptians are doing very well. But the fun part about this, or the interesting part rather, is I played the older version of this game, Age of Mythology, vanilla, for so many years, and in that game, Isis was a top civilization for like 8-9 years. Then even though there was no balance patches during that entire time, there have been other civilizations that emerged 8-9 years later that actually became even better than Isis, right? For example, Ra became one of the top tier gods. Set, Zeus at the time was becoming very, very strong in the older version of the game as well. So you might ask yourself, why did I mention all that? Well, the reason I'm mentioning that is because I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear what your thoughts are on the Medusa. Maybe I got some things wrong. Let me know. And this is a good showcase as well. Thanic and FPod had some really good points here in our Discord channel. And for those that are not on the Discord channel, definitely just post a message in the YouTube comments as well. I'd love to read it. I'd love to get your opinion on it. And yeah, thank you for watching. I know this is a little bit of a shorter video, but I do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you guys want to see anything specific for the next video. All right, take care, guys. Bye.